Hello, hello.
This is the podcast, Girls.
And the city. You are welcome by your two lovely co-hosts, me, Susanna, who returned to her sunglasses vibe because the light pointing on me is too strong.
The light?
Yes, the
You
light.
live in England, there's no light. Oh, that little light. It's your fake light. Oh my goodness.
No,
Okay.
no fake light.
Anyways, and me, Elizabeth, who has been traveling so much that one of my friends has asked me if I've slept in my own bed recently, and I haven't. I really haven't.
That's a very on-point question.
I love my bed. I don't see it very much. Should I even be paying rent? I don't know.
That was my first thought. I just didn't want to mention it.
I should really reevaluate my cost structure. But anyways, how are you? How has the week been?
You completely skipped the last part of our blurb, but good.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I can say it again, but I'll tell you a little bit about the podcast. So every week we watch an episode of Sex and the City. We try to figure out what's the main question. Then we try to answer the question. We figure out if we like or don't like the answer. And then we share some personal insights and stories if we have any.
That was a really, really good way of saying it.
Thanks.
And what's the word? On spot.
On the spot. Thank you. I try my best. I'm doing a lot of presentations this week, so I need to be really on the spot this week.
You need to be good at bullshitting, basically. Even better than you
Even
already
better
are.
than today. I am just a master bullshitter. This is what business is all about.
Yeah, that's why you're good at it.
Thank you. I hope I get it from my father, who's also in business.
Well, genes are there, you know.
It is. I am just like the son he's never had.
Did he
Except for I'm
tell
an
you
adult.
that? Or is that your
No,
interpretation?
it's just like, it's my interpretation. I was like, he's never told me he wanted a boy, but I feel like, you know how like dads are always like, I want a dude. Like, especially got dads who like work in business or in finance.
I
like,
don't.
love a son. Oh, okay. Well, anyways.
But-
Yeah,
how are you? I see that you lasted with sunglasses on for like 2 seconds.
Oh, sorry.
No, you can keep it
The
up.
light is not that bright here. I have a little light.
Do you
in my
want?
lamp there.
Do you want? I can send you this light by Amazon. Via Amazon. So then you match.
Oh, thank you. Maybe we'll be both blinded by your mini light. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so how are you this week? We can actually start now.
Okay. How am I? Yeah, so as I mentioned off mic, because we've had a little bit of catch up,
Little chit-chat.
I am surviving this weekend. My sleeping has not been really good recently. I am a
That's
very light
vibes.
sleeper in general,
I remember
struggling to fall asleep. But this week, well, there were just like random things that would keep me up. People ringing the bell at 2 a.m. in the morning, and then someone having a party
rude.
literally at the courtyard of the complex I live
Yeah, that's rude. It
in,
shouldn't be
and I was switching between closing the window so I don't hear them too much and opening the window because it's too hot, because it was also quite a warm day yesterday in London, which was great.
So beautiful. So beautiful.
Until it wasn't. So yeah, I think I'm officially sleep deprived, like chronically.
And you don't
so
nap, do you? Like,
I can't nap. Like that's the
oh
thing.
gosh.
I can't. Like I struggle to fall asleep when I should be sleeping. You know.
Yeah.
So napping is like out of the window for me.
This is another thing that we're polar opposites at, because like I consider it to be my super nap power to like be able to sleep anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
Like I can go nap right now.
I took sleeping pills. Well, it was melatonin. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. Nothing. That's crazy.
No, my brain overpowered everything. So yeah, that's a little bit more about my sleeping recently. But besides that, it's been a nice week. I went to like another talk which was AI and longevity, which is more from like a biomedicine perspective, and that was
Like a
also very
biohacker type
interesting.
thing.
Yeah. That was basically saying that like the prognosis is that we can extend our life until 150 years.
That's crazy. An extra like what, 60 years on top of it?
Basically double your life pretty much.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So very, thought provoking week about technology and the future. And we also have our episodes live on YouTube from today.
You guys don't like Spotify, you can see us on YouTube now too.
Well, not everyone has Spotify, so
That's
you're welcome.
true. That's true.
Yeah, and besides that, also, your girl is celebrating her birthday next week, which sadly your other girl can't make it because she's literally in a different continent. But yeah, I was kind of finalizing that also last week. It's gonna be cool. I'm basically
excited.
joining forces with Oscar, if you remember them. What's wrong with me? If you remember him from a few episodes.
Go back a few more episodes and you'll see Oscar.
Yeah, we actually have birthdays, I think 1 week apart from each other, so we decided to organize one joint birthday party. So yeah, very excited for that. And that is pretty much it. What about you?
Nice. What about me? I'm in Boston.
Shocking. I think at this point, we should have a rule. Every episode that we do, Elizabeth is in a different place. Yeah.
Oh my god, that sounds expensive.
Well, it kind of is your life anyway, so.
That's true. No, I'm traveling for work. I love the fact that part of my job is we work remotely, but we get to travel at least every quarter, if not more. So yeah, this week, it's a good week. I was just working a ton as well, so had to do that. And I saw some of my friends. We did it fun because after our trip to Europe, we did a girls recap. Because one of our friends didn't get to go, so we did we watched through all of our photos on her giant screen and told her all the chaotic stories.
That sounds fun.
It was very fun. It was very wholesome. We had some nice snacks, pizza, and champagne. Just girl dinner.
Fancy. Sounds like a Sex and the City type of
honestly,
evening.
It kind of was. I'll post some photos. No, but it was really fun. We did that, and then on Friday, because we haven't gone out in Alexandria in such a long time, my friends really wanted to go. But I was like, guys, I can't go out too late because I still have to pack, and I have an early morning flight. We went out. We had a fun time. The band was all right, but we ended up meeting some fun people, as always. And then, yeah, made it home, packed, went to bed super late, got an early morning flight to Boston, where I'm going to be here for the first half of the week for work. And then for work, I'm also going to go to New York. So I'm going to take the train down because I love a good train. And then I'll be back in DC.
Oh, there's a train between Boston and New York.
Yeah, it's not I thought it was a lot closer. It's actually 3.5 hours.
That's not bad.
I know, but I thought it was actually a lot closer than it actually is. Because, between New York and DC, it is 3.5. So I'm much more used to that train being long. But, I was like, you go to Philadelphia and all these places. And I look on the map, I was like, is Boston really that far away from New York? And I guess it is. But so far, Boston's been really cool. I caught up with one of my friends that lives here. Boston is one of those places that's on my list that if I move to New York next, I'm probably going to do Boston after that. So I really wanted to scope out the fun spots here as well as understand what the locals are like, because to me, being in a Pisces and all, I really care about the surroundings and the atmosphere I'm in. It has a pretty big impact on me.
Well, I have one friend who spent one summer back a long time ago in Boston, but she loved it. She always says it's the best place in the US. I've never been to Boston, so I don't know.
Good reviews. Well, my friend who lives here, who knows me from undergrad, was like, "You're not gonna like Boston." And I was like, "Why?" She's like, "You seem more like a New York girly." And I was like, "I don't know."
I do agree with that statement, though.
But New York is so crazy. It's actually, I don't think I could do it for more than a year. It literally will eat me alive.
Well, if I can bring to the light, something that I personally think it's quite a thing, and we talked about it just now off mic, is your lists.
My lists? Oh my
I think that kind of fits the New York, chaotic
okay,
lifestyle.
I like to bring efficiency. Again, I'm a chaotic like person, so I like to bring any kind of efficiencies that I can to my life. So the list that Susanna is alluding to is part of
Lists.
my dating list.
Lists. There are multiple.
There is three. There is three, and I will
Just,
explain why there are
just
three.
three. Just three.
There's the general list of like, yeah, we've gone on a date. I'll like if we click, then I'll probably see you again. But you're not my favorite. If you're my favorite, or like I actually see this actually going anywhere, you can make the short list. However, if I never want to see you again, or you're just like a weird person in general, or you've hurt me, you're gonna be on the blacklist.
Is it block or black?
Black block list.
Black block, please. Do you block people?
I do in certain circumstances. If you're actually creeping me out and
Or you've cheated on?
oh, I mean, I don't think like actually the person that attempted to cheat on me, they're not blocked, but I just wouldn't respond.
That was just like a small connection to today's episode, but I don't think you got it.
Oh, sorry. I'm
It's
not
okay.
very good at picking up hints. I'm sorry.
That's
but yeah,
good for me.
Do you want to intro us into our episode? The
It kind
cheating
of
curve?
that was my segue. Yeah, didn't work as much, but well, I am a direct person anyway, so it's actually fine.
I'm just gonna pick up my notebook real quick.
And I will in the meantime.
Yeah. Please tell us about
Start.
season 2, episode 6.
Yeah. So this episode is called the cheating curve,
Dun,
right?
dun, dun.
I don't have a heading. Oh my god! In my notes,
What do you mean?
I didn't include the heading. Well, no, sorry. I am in the wrong document. Never
How
mind.
many do you have?
Don't ask.
This is why I
Don't
keep
tell.
one notebook. See, I travel with it. I take it everywhere with me, and it doesn't get me distracted.
I have it. It's
That's
just
so
different tab. Everyone has their own stuff, done in a
I know,
different
we
way.
all have our different styles.
Exactly. As long as it works. Anyway. So, I think I'm the one giving the summary, so let's crack into that. Carrie is still seeing Mr. Big behind the girl's back, so it's still kind of like a secret relationship again. And let me go back. So, this episode is about cheating, right? That's the main topic. And all 4 characters in one way or another are engaged with this topic from different angles. So in Carrie's case, she kind of feels like she's cheating on her girlfriends because she's lying to them about seeing Mr. Big.
And herself.
And herself, yeah. She actually literally says that I was cheating on all my friends with Mr. Big because I was embarrassed to admit I'm seeing him again. That's the whole kind of theme of the episode for Carrie. Now, it's been a few, like, I should have watched this before this podcast because I watched this.
I can help you out. Don't worry, I rewatched
But
it today.
did it got revealed by the end of this episode?
Yeah, that she was seeing
Right?
Big. Yeah, so it was when Carrie.
Thank you.
I mean, I could do that. I just watched it today too. I rewatched it. It was when basically her IUT got like either started to fall out or something, but she's like, "Oh, my diaphragm's falling out," and she's like, "Either I can call my gynecologist right now, or one of you can help me out." And so Samantha was helping her out, and then Miranda's like, "Wait a second, are we like just brushing over that? Like, who are you sleeping with?"
Yeah.
And that's when she had to basically break it to them.
Exactly. Thank you.
No
You.
worries,
That was
anytime.
important. So we go to my order. I have Samantha, where we get with the whole cheating from a little bit different angle. So Samantha in this episode is kind of sleeping with her trainer. And it first starts with like the discussion about cheating in terms of exercising, but at the end of the day or at the end of the episode, we learn that the trainer, he was kind of into shaving here.
That's another little thing.
Yeah, like she found it a little bit surprising at first, which I think it's quite a statement for Samantha. But yeah, he kind of enjoyed shaving her in different places, including the intimate parts. And I think that he kind of marked her, like he did
A
what
lightning
was it?
bolt.
Lightning, yeah, lightning bolt, which was actually a sign that another woman recognized when I think Samantha was in sauna, and learned that he is probably marking multiple women, which is another way of looking at cheating, obviously. Then we have Charlotte. Charlotte has a very interesting storyline in this episode. So she gets cheated on while on a date, literally, which that is crazy.
She brought the
Like,
date to her like new
like
art show.
exhibition, yeah.
Yeah.
But he like kissing with another woman?
He saw another woman who I don't like. I don't even know where she came from, but it was like he saw her in the crowd, and then she was going back to get some more champagne because they ran out, and she like literally caught him making out with her.
Yeah,
Um,
which that's crazy, you know? Like one thing is cheating, but another one is like when you go on a date with someone and you cheat on them while on a date, like
that's what. And his
that's
response is like,
another
"We're only
level.
kissing."
Yeah, oh my god. Like another episode of little men that are,
Well, that because it brought him to
weak.
the whole conversation, right? Of like what actually constitutes as cheating. Because I think to him, he didn't think it was cheating. And she thought that he owed her at least.
Have you ever met anyone who would not think that if you go on a date with someone and then you kiss with someone else
No,
while being on a
okay.
date?
We'll
Like,
talk about it in a minute. But like,
okay,
we
because
can.
I think
There
there
are
is like
different types of cheating.
there is like a gray area and gray area,
Oh
and
no, I
this is
agree. I
definitely not
agree.
like gray area in any other situation. But anyway, so Charlotte, because of that, there are like these women her exhibition as well, and she learns that they are lesbians.
Like, how are
And
lesbians?
yeah, and she really likes the vibe and the whole dynamic that gets on between them. So they invite her, I think, casually to have drinks with her. And she has the best night of her life for like since long time ago. So she really is into befriending these lesbians or like the friend group. To the point where she feels like she wanna go on holidays with them, etc. And we learn that at some point she needs to make a choice because apparently you cannot be friends with lesbians if you are not one of them. Maybe it's the same thing as you cannot be ultimately friend with the guy if you're not interested in him. Like that's a
I,
dialogue
I,
that's
I mean, that's also to be tested because I've got some
yeah.
friends that I think. I mean, we can get them on the podcast as well,
Like
but
I think like the principle is the same. Like you can't be friends with someone that is a pool of potential partners, and usually it's for
yeah.
men and women. But in this case, it was women and women. And yeah, like they directly ask her at some point, well, are you interested in women? And she's like, no. Well, she kind of is gently kicked out of that group at the end of this episode. And then we have Miranda. I feel so sorry for Miranda. Like, she's just getting these freaks. I feel.
Yeah.
She's like the girl who I think has the most weird guys.
Stories. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Um,
maybe her Venus is an Aquarius. Maybe that's just like a thing.
are you comparing it to someone?
Please continue, but yeah, please tell us why he what the form
So
of
this
cheating is there.
time, yeah, the guy is really into watching porn while being intimate with someone. And at first, Miranda is kind of weirded out by it, but she's like, okay, if that's what you like, it's okay. But afterwards, while sleeping together for a few times and always having that on TV, she starts to feel like he's basically cheating on her with the porn.
Wow, she's in the room.
While they are being intimate. And I think that at some point she asks or like gives him a decision to make, like it's either me or the porn, and he decides for porn ultimately. Being
He's like, I've known some of these women for years, and I just met you.
which is hilarious. But yeah, my point is like, why poor Miranda? Like they're giving her this horrible, weird man that
Well, wait for a couple more episodes. She gets a nicer one.
True, but then, like recently there was the third episode, third season of Just Like That released.
Oh, I
I
haven't seen it.
I haven't seen Just
Don't
Like
spoil
That.
it.
I don't I don't feel it's the same thing. So for me,
Oh,
these
okay.
are like
I'll
two
probably
different
rewatch it
shows.
anyways. That's fine.
Have you seen Just Like That?
I've seen, I think, an episode or two.
Okay. Well, anyway, I just want to say like Miranda in that whole territory is actually a lesbian at the end. So
Okay.
I feel like remember there was like an episode early on where she tried to be one?
Try to be a lesbian. I don't remember.
Come
Did
on,
she, like, kiss a
when
girl?
when her coworkers thought that she is
Oh,
lesbian.
I mean, she tried to be a lesbian when she, like, pretended to do it for work.
Yeah,
Like,
and
she
then
didn't
she
actually
was like,
pretend to, like, be gay, I don't think.
no, but she actually said, yeah, I can't. Like, I just cannot do this because I'm interested
Oh,
in men.
yeah,
And
yeah,
now,
yeah.
like, 20 or 30 years ago, Jesus, sorry
Later.
for my, I don't know what's, I am just tired. 30 years later, they
Yep.
turned into a gay person. And I don't know. I just feel like she has the weirdest character plot from all of them.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
maybe not necessarily the nicest. Anyway, sidetrack. But yeah, so obviously they broke up as a result of it. The question of the episode is very surprisingly, what constitutes cheating?
Dun, dun, dun. But we're gonna get back to that
Dun,
towards
dun,
the
dun.
end.
Yes.
That's the spicy, juicy one. Yeah, then let's start with the exploring sexuality piece.
Okay. Let's do
Um,
that. Cool. So we're gonna start with that. Oh my god.
how do you start with that?
We
So,
are-
I mean,
we-
let's
Yeah,
just,
really
I would
smooth.
also premise the situation as well, right? So, like, I think being lesbian, gay, whatever, in the 90s was a completely different thing than it is today as well. I think back
It was
then,
much more like wow, I think.
I think wow, but it was also there was a greater divide. Whereas now, I think there is like more. It's more relative, and there is more. It's more of like a range and in between.
True.
'Cause
Like
I
there
think
was
it's
nothing
much more common to be bi, for example.
exactly like before. It was like you're either dad or dad. You cannot be both.
Yeah. And with my, like, again, we have a group of friends that I'm not kidding. They joke about themselves like having a lesbian commune in the future. And for context, one of my friends and I met them because they lived in the same building. And they were like relatively our age. They were on a night out. So they're like, oh, let's just join the girls. They seem like super fun. And so we did. And for my friend, they said she's definitely straight. For me, apparently, I could potentially be seen as gay. Like, I could actually, like, swing that way is what they interpreted me as.
Do you know why?
I don't know. It's just apparently of how, like, I treat men and, like, my relationships. They're like, you're so gay. I was like, I don't know if I am. I feel pretty straight.
But why? Like, if someone would tell me you are so gay, I would really want to understand why because I don't
No,
see
like-
gay in you.
I think it's more of just, like, again, how it's not so black and white in the sense that it really, I think it depends on the person, and I can't say I've explored my sexuality in that way, but I don't feel the need to. But again, I don't know, I can't say it being a Pisces anymore. But
I think you can.
But
Being
the
a
person that
Pisces.
I am, I do have a tendency to fall in love with like the person that they are, their intellect, their like them as a person. So I was like, I would not rule it out. Let's say, but at the same time, like bringing it back to the conversation is like I think it's much more common for people to have like a range of sexual preferences and preferences for different partner lifestyles than it was back then. It's also much more talked about, I think, as well. And so
Well-
because the episode to me sounded like there was a huge divide of like, oh, the power lesbians, they like travel in their own little posse and like, and they even made it sound like it was super exclusive of like, oh, if you're not one of us, you can't hang out. Because to Charlotte, it was a very like sweet and empowering moment. I was actually kind of proud of her because like this horrible like guy like literally cheated on her like on their first date. She's like, I thought he would at least like promise me I forgot the word, like not loyalty but exclusivity at least for the first date. Like,
Oh yeah.
um,
And that kind of I think goes to like what we constitute cheating, but
yes,
that's
which
like
will
a
then bring
later
us to our
topic.
ultimate
Yeah.
topic. But like she didn't take it, I think, too seriously or too hard because she then after that had such a almost like an empowering experience of like, oh, I spent like time with these women, and to Miranda's like point to episodes ago, like they don't talk about men 24/7. It's like it's almost like liberating. It's like they have all these like amazing
Yeah.
jobs, these amazing hobbies, and all these things that they do that
And
men
I
are not
think
a
like
problem.
one another detail that she really liked is that these two women that she met, they used to date and now they were friends, and she felt
Yeah.
that as very empowering that they can still be so close even if they dated in the past, and it just felt very I don't know, like even when I was watching it I felt if they were cool.
Yeah, and I think like maybe we do need someone actually like as a guest on this episode to explain to us like the dating outside of like the heterosexual norms, but it is very different, right? Like it's much more, from what I understand, it's much more straight to the point, and it's much more direct and transparent. It's like
Yeah.
you literally see someone, you're like, I think you're hot, let's hook up, or like I think you're hot, like let's try dating. And it's a lot less of the in between and the confusing things of like, are you into me? Do you like me? Like a lot of the walking, I don't want to say like walking on eggshells, but like walking around the topic that you would be spending so much time playing the guessing game, for example.
Well, I think it's also because, many times, especially when you're young, like I remember during my uni days in the undergrad, there would be literally a point in time where I felt everyone was like exploring this.
Yeah.
Like everyone around me, all my friends were exploring their sexuality and to what extent they are attracted to different genders and what they prefer, and like they were trying, dating
Right.
different people, um, kind of not really considering sex as a variable.
Yeah.
So I remember I thought about it a lot back then, and my conclusion was that there's no way I'm bi because I just never felt any
Yeah.
sort of attraction to women. I find women beautiful, but it's never sexual. It's more like you can admire beauty as a concept, and
Right.
kind of goes back to what I want to make as a point here is often people are maybe not so comfortable at first with this whole aspect of, well, maybe I like also other gender, and because of that I think that it kind of becomes more gentle or
It's a little
more
more sensitive.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I feel like people are trying to accommodate that much more when they are dating or trying something out, because like a lot of times I think you hear like, well, I'm just kind of new into, I mean that's what I've heard, that when you go out, like there are a lot of people and women especially which are like, I'm trying this out, I'm new, so I'm not really sure how to act.
Right.
And it almost like the other partner is more comfortable at it, tries to make them feel as comfortable as possible, which I don't think is the case when you are dating heterosexually. I think that is much more about your own interest, especially at the beginning, like when you are starting to date and you're probably in your teenage years. It's really about just understanding what the hell dating even is.
Yeah. How do you do it?
So,
How
yeah,
do you not
I
mess
feel
up?
like the approach is much more gentle with, like, when you're exploring your sexuality to this
Right.
level than when you are just, like, experiencing the most common concept of dating.
Yeah, and I think that's why like they were so on Charlotte's case, because what, Charlotte's in her 30s and like you should know by now kind of thing. And if you're not with us.
Are you drawing?
No. Okay. I can multitask.
Don't worry,
Not
I'm
being
playing with
called
my
out
lip
for
gloss.
this. No, but I'm saying is like with
You can
Charlotte,
draw.
I think they
It's
put
okay,
a lot more
you can
pressure
continue.
on her.
They did, like both groups. I think Miranda and Samantha. I think they told like, yeah, girl, you can't be friends with these girls unless you're one of them.
But I nowadays I think that's so different. Like I can hang out with my friends that are gay, and it's like purely platonic, and it's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. I don't think there is that level of exclusivity, right, anymore.
I wonder if that was actually real case even back then, or that was just how it was portrayed in the
It
in the
might have been
movie.
just that also that friend group, right? It's like they go vacation together. They have these like elaborate parties. It almost seems like a members club. That they
Yeah.
all just seem to happen like, and it sounds like they have cross dated like within the group. And that was
The
also
more
normal
we
for them.
the more we talk about it, the more it sounds that is actually quite toxic.
I mean, is it?
Because if
Why is it
if you
toxic?
are if you are all dating each other and you are very exclusive, I don't think that's very healthy. It sounds a little bit cultish.
I don't know, but I also think like there's not as much pressure for exclusivity, I think, within the gay community. Like, again, I think the notion of exclusivity and like you're married for life and that kind of thing, I think that's just a stereotypical thing that we're taught, right? There's a number of people who, again, who have polygamous relationships or like non-committal, like ethical, like non-monogamy, and that's perfectly fine. So I think that also might be the case, right? It's like they just have multiple partners, for example, right? But I might be overthinking into it.
Maybe we should just ask someone who has
But we should get a guest again. We should.
actually has a real life experience on that. But no, yeah, like
Yeah.
if we need to or want to kind of summarize this, I do believe that there is a big difference between how it was portrayed back then and how it feels now today. Like people are more fluid, I think,
Yeah.
or accept the fact that your sexuality is a scale rather than
Well, it also
A
the
or
thing
B.
is, I think it's definitely better that like it has evolved into like being more inclusive and all this kind of thing, and I hope it's more inclusive, like with a little like with more recent political side of things, like maybe that's not going in the same direction anymore. But it also makes it, I think, a little bit more complicated for people who are just like heterosexual. And the reason I say
really?
that is
Why?
because also like, again, me considering moving to New York, and one of my friends who lives there has warned me. She's like, I do like warn you, dating out here is atrocious, and not because just a pool of people are not great. It's also like the persistent popularity of alternative dating lifestyles, meaning the fact that like non-monogamy is so popular and normalized there that it's hard to find like a traditional
Oh, yeah.
monogamous relationship.
That's.
So like I think that's like
I mean, you
the
should move
double-edged
to New
sword side of it.
York
No, I understand. And
and
again, I'm not moving to New York to
investigate
find a
this.
husband. Oh, you're saying I should do research? No, but like
And
I
then
think there's a point to it.
2 months later, Elizabeth is engaged.
Like I hate to say like I don't want to say that like I love that for everyone else except for me, but I am someone who is looking for like unfortunately a traditional relationship. I'm sorry to be a basic white girl, but I am.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think like
Right.
neither narrative should be pushed as better or worse. And I feel these days that's what social media does. So it's almost like
Sure.
if you are not with us, you are against us.
Well, not against us, or just you're not cool, like part of the cool kids club.
Yeah, and
Well, that's what the power lesbians were doing ultimately here, right? Is like they were
True.
saying like you can't hang with us, kind of.
and I don't like it. I don't like this elitist approach in any regard.
Yeah, but there was a positive side to it, right? It's like Charlotte did mention of like their lives are not complicated by men, and I'm not kidding. Like
Oh yeah,
I
I feel
had
like
an Uber
honestly.
driver today who was hating on men. It was hilarious.
Wow, that you don't meet men like that often.
No, it was
Why?
a
What
woman.
is-
It was a woman.
Oh,
Why did I say Uber driver and you automatically assumed it was a man?
well, first of all, because in English you never know.
That's true.
But secondly, most of the time Uber drivers are men.
In the
so-
US, it's becoming more popular that women drive too.
I mean, I've seen so many women driving, but still, like, I would say it's like 20 to 80 ratio for me. So yeah,
Yeah, probably.
I didn't even
Probably.
think about it. I just assumed
No,
automatically.
it
Also,
was a woman.
It sounds more fun if a man would hate on men.
I don't know if they do.
Well, what'd you say?
Well, in that case, it would be like they're hating on themselves too. Like, right? I personally, I don't hate on men, but I also like I don't know if I could ever be like I hate women. That's such a generalization for me.
Well, I don't think I can say I hate women, but I can definitely say that women are crazy. Like I
Not all
wholeheartedly
women. I
I
mean,
wholeheartedly stand behind that. I am crazy too. Like I can see myself in certain situations and I'm like, what the hell? Like that's just like
I
crazy.
still remember my friend's quote of like, "Of course you're crazy. You're a woman. You're allowed to be crazy." I was like, "Oh, is that the accepted
Yeah,
fact?"
so I feel like, I don't hate a woman, but I do agree we are crazy. It's a part of us. It's what makes us interesting.
Sure.
And
We're
sometimes
we're fun
positively,
kind of
sometimes
crazy.
negatively. Yeah. So you can do the
Yeah,
same about men,
yeah.
even if you're one of them. Anyway, but what did she say?
No, she was just like she was hilarious. I think this is also part of like maybe Bostonian culture, but she was pissed off at like men walking like really slowly over a crosswalk on their phones. She's like, "Look at these out
Oh,
of towner men. I hate men." And I was like,
but I hate that too. Like honestly, I decided
I was
to
afraid she was gonna run them over. Like that's how passionate she was about it.
I decided to cancel my WeWork membership
Because there's too many men.
because I am annoyed by people.
That's
So first of all,
hilarious.
there are too many people in the WeWork I go to
Okay,
usually,
they don't
and
cap it.
it's just I don't know what they do. It's probably also because the WeWork is really big. But there are just too
Okay.
many people, and your girl that was significantly influenced by COVID and also worked from home and remotely
Yeah.
since I joined. I keep touching this mic. I hope it's not too much sound. Um, I never really worked from the office because I think I was like doing my first job 3 months in and then COVID hit and then we
Yeah.
all moved to a
Remote
home
life. Yeah, and then we did our
environment.
masters remotely as well.
Yeah, and then it's just been remote for me since then. So like I don't think I'm used to it at this point to like be
Yeah.
so surrounded by so many people so often. But then it's about the commute. The commute is where I go like it drives me crazy. There
It's
every
hilarious. You live in a giant metropolitan city, so I hate to say it, but people came with the city.
I know, but like it's I think that there's kind of like a decency disappeared after COVID. Like people just care much less about being human and reasonable because they all kind of got just too much into their head and individuality or whatever. Like there is this rule in London that everyone knows is an escalator rule. One
Oh my
line
god,
is for
yeah.
standing, one line is for walking.
It's
You
the
always
tourists. It's the tourists who don't know. They don't know the tube
whatever.
etiquette.
So you always, if you want to stand on the escalator, you go to the right. If you want to move and walk, you go to the left. Every
I'd love to
time.
see you on like Oxford Street or Regent Street. Like
Oh yeah, I go crazy. Like,
I turn
but
into an angry gnome, and because I'm so short, I want to just like punch people, and I feel like I'm punching air.
no, but like, come on, like you can see, look around, people. That's how it works. So anyway, but like the fact that I meet at least one person on the commute per commute. So
Yeah.
one to the office, one from the office, where someone would be standing in the left line, and I'm like, sorry, excuse
So
me,
are you
and
the kind of person that walks on escalators?
I always walk.
You
Always
don't
walk.
stand, even if it's like a
No.
really long. Oh my god.
Oh,
Okay.
especially when it's wrong. Like, come on, Elizabeth. I am
You're
ADHD.
hilarious.
Like, I need to go fast. I don't want to waste time. So, there's always one person at least who's going to be standing on the left side, and I'm like, excuse me, sorry.
She goes
So I move.
confrontational.
Oh,
She'll
yeah.
push them off the escalator.
But the other day, I went, like, this was a different level because there was basically a man standing. I think there was like a man, and next to him was a kid or whatever, family.
Yeah.
Clearly has no self reflection or observation of the outside world.
Yeah.
And he's standing in the left line, and I'm like, excuse me, sorry,
You have
sorry. I said it
headphones
like,
in?
no, he was talking to a child. And I was like, I said sorry or excuse me
No
4
self
times.
awareness. Yeah.
He didn't even turn his head back.
Wow.
I look around, the guy behind me starts to laugh. I lost it. I was like,
So.
oh my god, like these things really, really can like make me angry like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's it. I'm done. I'm not moving. I'm not leaving my house. Just when I really need to be around
Work
people
from
because,
home.
yeah,
Maybe
like
this is why I'm a calmer person, that I work from home and I barely interact with people, so.
I honestly once per week or per 2 weeks it's a sweet spot for me apparently because
Oh my God, you're
it's
so
just
funny.
and then like full trains, metro where some people just don't know how to behave.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. Wait, well, I mean, wait until
anyway,
the summer. They apparently don't wear deodorant half the time. Like, that's
oh
gross.
yeah, and that's another thing that it's coming and
Yeah.
unfortunately the metro I take doesn't have air conditioning in, so
Oh my goodness. Just take the Lizzie line. It's the
but
best
that
line.
doesn't go. Yeah, I need to.
It goes
This also
central. Where else do you need to go?
I'm not gonna reveal where I was going, but yeah,
Oh,
there are so many
oh.
WeWork locations. I should just change.
But anywho,
Anyway,
let's get back to our episode. So we discussed the
anyway,
lesbians
just to
and
close this,
sexuality. Well,
I
not the
think
yeah,
no,
go
no,
for
no,
it.
no. I think that Charlotte would be a great lesbian. I think that if I would have to pick one person from them, it would be Charlotte. It was matching her vibe, and I think it was bringing out of the feminine so much in this episode. I would
I
like that
feel
for her.
like the plot potentially could have gone there, or I think she could be bi. Honestly, like she doesn't need to go that drastic. Like I
Like
think
if Charlotte should have a plan B where it's like plan A is family, kids, and all the traditional life.
she can
Plan
still
B,
have a family and kids and be gay.
yeah, but she was the most conservative out of them. So
I think so. I think so. It was definitely giving
anyway,
a bit of a Republican. I
anyway,
guess we can get to the main topic of like, or
but
maybe
they still
let's go to the whole Carrie and Big thing of like her
yeah.
cheating on her
Because
friends
this
and
needs to be
herself.
addressed. This needs to be addressed.
Um.
Like returning back to your ex.
Okay. Have you done
That
it?
was not.
Have
That
you
was
done
not
it?
good
Have you
for
done
you.
it?
Okay. What? Returning back to your ex.
Or like a not even like an actual like if you were in a legit relationship, but it was like a fling, whatever, or someone who
Okay,
like
but there
wasn't
is a
good for
difference
you.
because there is a returning to your ex that wasn't toxic necessarily, and then there is an ex that like clearly the relationship wasn't good for you, but then you returned back. So which one?
I think both. Both.
Okay. I think I had like relapse with one person.
She calls it a relapse, so it wasn't good.
Jesus, that's a bad word.
No, but relapse is a good example in like Carrie's case. It was a relapse.
So yeah, I had someone that I've been with like officially, and then we separated, and then years after we relapsed. But
And
never
both are
went.
relapsed.
Well, we are really good friends. And even today, if I would reach that person, it
Okay,
would
so
be
they're not a bad
totally
person.
fine. No.
Okay.
And I think like it's just because naturally there is this, good chemistry and like the base is there. I think it's mostly like different lifestyles or different expectations from life.
Yeah.
Where I felt we didn't match that
No, that
much.
happens.
But like the other day I was thinking about this, and I think in this case, this is like a perfect example. I love many people, and and this person is definitely someone I love dearly, like from my heart. But there's a difference between loving someone and being in love with someone.
Yeah, or even like you can even be in love with someone and them not being good for you to be with.
Exactly, but I love this person. I'm not in love with this person, and I think
Okay.
it's kind of unfair because you deserve someone that is in love with you and not just love you.
True. That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
So yeah, I think that's the only time. Besides that, I didn't really return to my.
So you didn't have a
exes.
Carrie situation where you relapsed and didn't tell your friends?
No, but I feel like you do.
Of course I do. No,
I thought I am messy, but then I met you and I'm like,
Then
I'm
I
fine.
met you.
I'm fine. I'm
Okay,
just
not
crazy.
that messy. I I am I don't know, I'm multi-dimensional.
Well put.
That's what I like to say. Very creative, very loving.
Okay, now let's go back to my question.
No, I definitely have, especially like it's very hard. And I think like I don't know if this is going to be a trigger point for anyone else, but especially in a toxic relationship, because the first piece is it's hard to realize that it is a toxic relationship, right? Because you're wanting it more and more and more and you're not getting it, or it's so toxic that they're like gaslighting you into thinking like you don't deserve it, or you're like overreacting, or you're asking for too much. And then the moment that they like you cut them off and you make the active choice of like I'm not going to be pursuing you anymore because you're not giving me what I need and how I deserve to be loved, and then their ego is no longer fed, and ultimately like after a little bit of time comes back, they're like perfectly fine and wonderful, and then give you a glimpse into like what you could have and what you deserve, and then pull it back again. So I've definitely had situations where like I finally cut it off, and like I told everyone, like, and everyone who like was not a fan of this relationship, and I told them like this is gonna be final, this is gonna be it, and then they've come back into my life and have told me different, that it's gonna be different, that it's gonna be better, and that they're actually gonna try and give me the love that I need and deserve. And I have relapsed in that case, and I do like the use of word relapse, so good choice there, because it did feel like it, right? And then but then you come back to the same exact cycle and pattern, and you realize it's not good for you. So I know exactly what Carrie's feeling right now, and like that's why I'm not going to get to the end of the episode, but it had me furious, but it also had me like relating way too much, in the sense that you're like, you know, you're delusional, you know, you're cheating yourself, and like you're cheating in the sense like of actively choosing something that you know you're better than, or that you deserve much better than, but it feels so good in the moment to have the satisfaction that you're like, actually no, this is like YOLO. I like it.
I feel like we could like clearly see that, you know, the moment that they became official, all the red flags and insecurities came immediately back to her, and like she started to feel the same way she felt before.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem, right? Like,
and him avoiding the conversation altogether. He's literally just trying to deflect.
yeah. So that if you want to return to someone, I don't think this should be the feeling you are supposed to feel the moment that you rekindle.
Yeah.
So that was concerning, because she could say like spot it herself.
Yep.
So like,
but it's hard. Like that's the piece, and going back to even like the piece about women and friendships, and literally being like, she lied to Miranda saying that she was going to the dentist, right? But then she felt super guilty about it, and then the same thing of like she eventually had to like come out with it, and they were very, I think, shocked and concerned for her that this was the decision that she made without even like telling them, or like, because I think they genuinely were hurting for her at the time, and so it does pain them to see that.
Well, I mean, if you are a friend and you see your friend, this was a great sentence. If you see your friend going through a like difficult relationship and then through difficult breakup, and you're there for them, and then you see them like kind of going back to that person after all of this shit show that you helped them to go through, I get that. It's almost like, what was this all for? Like, clearly
It's frustrating, but like I think that's also the point of a good friend.
Yeah.
A good friend, it's like, I don't want to go off the TikTok trend, but like we listen and we don't judge. And in that case, why I love my friends so much. My friends obviously forgave me for keeping things secret from them and like getting away with this and all that, because they understood that like I was going through something. It's not like as easy as it is to just end it. It's not like a job that you just quit. You put in your notice, you're like, I'm gone. It's something a little bit deeper than that. Which makes it difficult. We actually did have a friend who also like started to relapse a little bit, and I was like talking to her, and she was there for me, and I was like, hey, like, remember how like, well, I mean, we sometimes give ourselves tough love, and I was like, remember how like tough and like deliberately like, not, they were harsh, but I know they were coming from a good place, but I was like, remember how you were like trying to act on behalf of me and trying to tell me good advice that time? I was like, that, trying to remind her of that, when it's hard to put up a mirror to yourself and be like, oh, I'm doing the same exact pattern that I just told my friend not to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. The friends are there because they want to be your friend and not to necessarily tell you what is right, because most of the time they don't know. Like, you know the best what you need.
Yeah.
And your friends are probably there to help you to see the objective truth most of the time. Like they would kind of give a mirror in front of you, being like, do you see yourself? Like, is this what the version that you kind of want to be?
Yeah. Are you happy with
Which,
this? Do you want to be here?
yeah, exactly. But no, I get it. As long as I see you happy as a friend, that's what I care about. And
Yeah.
if I don't see you happy, you know, I'm trying to help you. But yeah, it's up to you.
It's
but anyway,
hard, though. It's hard to see, like, your friend. Yeah, this is, I think, one of my favorite parts of the show is obviously, like, the drama is fun. The relationships are fun. But I think it goes back to the whole idea of the power of female friendships. And I think this is a really good example of that. Like, your friends are so good that, yeah, no matter how hard or bad you are to yourself, they're always going to have your back. But it's always hard to see someone that you love, even if it's, like, in a friendship platonic way, go through something so painful. So I understand, like, their perspective for sure. Especially, like, Samantha, who I think is, like, genuinely very protective of Carrie.
she's a really good friend.
She is, and so is Miranda. Like, obviously, the two of them, I think, like, I mean, Charlotte, too. But Charlotte's in La La Land half the time, which I relate to. But yeah.
But you know, like, there was like, actually, I read on Reddit again because that's what I do.
Research.
And there was like a very interesting comment on this topic with Big and Carrie, where they say, I'm just gonna read it. Also, at this point, I don't think I fully dislike Big yet. I think Big made his intentions clear the first time around and how he is as a person. Of course, going into the rest of the series, that kind of my opinion changes. But I feel Carrie was trying to push something on him that he made clear was just not him. And that's why her starting something up again would really scare me as her friend. Not that he's an asshole, but that they want different things for what their relationship should look like. Which Carrie, of course, is in complete denial about. And I think there is a really good point here that, Big is...
He's very clear about his intentions.
Yeah, like, he's not the perfect character. Like, he has flaws. But one thing I have to give him is he was always clear and upfront about what he wants and doesn't want.
Yeah.
And that's a quality, actually, that I think is not so visible nowadays, that people would, like, state clearly their intentions and not like halfway intentions, you know? So it's just Carrie being delusional, trying to look for something that there is not. And Big, I mean, he's happy to have her in his company. So yeah, let's see how that goes. But
yeah, I am weary of it though. Like, and I mean, you sent me the TikTok about like Carrie's commentary after the generations of watching this, and like the modern generation saying like the relationship was very toxic from the start. Like, how come like it wasn't seen? But I think it does, like, from our perspective in our generation, the world that we know is today. It's very different from how it was back then. And, like, I think the use of the word toxic relationship wasn't even a thing back then. Like, that's just how relationships were. Like, and so I think it was portrayed very differently. And so I think I agree with, like, Carrie's point in that TikTok.
You mean Sarah Jessica Parker?
Yes, Sarah Jessica Parker's point.
Because, just, like, for, like, context... she was doing an interview with I don't know who because of the new release of Just Like That, and they asked her about the relationship with Mr. Big. So, her point was that they were coming from different generations that people that are watching it today are from, and we perceive it differently. But if we go back, and especially in case of Mr. Big, like he was different generation than Carrie was, and also high class, that was just normal, maybe.
Yeah.
Or much more.
But even, like, not beyond, prevalent. Like, not even the context of the show, but when it was written, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it was just, like, how it was written, the way the relationship was romanticized. A romanticized relationship looks very different today. But besides the point, so that was one aspect of cheating. Do we want to go into the other types of cheating and, like, what actually constitutes cheating or not cheating?
Yeah.
in general.
So this was basically cheating to herself or cheating herself.
Herself and her friends, like
Yeah.
the relationship. Because to me, again, maybe yeah, let's define the term of cheating is being dishonest about.
Well, I will read the girls' definitions and then also
Okay.
a Reddit one.
I mean, we can even go dictionary definition.
Oh, for sure. I just didn't write that one. I don't know why. But feel free to add.
I
So,
should look it up.
Carrie, yeah, do the official one.
Do the quick Google.
Carrie, you can define cheating in absolute terms. There is a cheating curve. Someone's definition of what constitutes cheating is in direct proportion to how much they themselves want to cheat. So, in short, Carrie sees cheating as a cheating curve. Samantha, the act of cheating is defined by the act of getting caught. One doesn't exist without the other. Obviously, Charlotte, the whole discussion about cheating started by her being cheated on by the guy who went on a date with her, and she felt that, yeah, that was direct cheating, and how could he do that?
So the guy kissing another woman while they're on
Yeah.
a date.
And then we have Reddit definitions that I liked. Anything that could be perceived as sexual, such as kissing, the act of
Really?
intercourse, and
They said
sexually.
sexual.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I disagree, but yeah, please continue.
No, of course, like that's why I'm bringing different perceptions. Sexually touching someone else without permission from your standpoint. And the second one was if you wouldn't want to tell your partner about it, it is at least kind of cheating.
Okay, I kind of agree with that one more. It's a little bit more general, but let me pull up the dictionary definition, right? So, in a relationship, cheating is known as infidelity, refers to a violation of exclusivity where one partner engages in emotional or sexual intimacy with someone else without the knowledge or consent of their primary partner.
So it kind of goes back to the Reddit version number 2.
Yeah, because I wouldn't say it's just sexual, because I think
No.
there's an aspect of emotional cheating.
There are
that, like,
actually 6 types of cheating.
Oh wow. Okay, what are the 6?
Sexual, emotional, online affair, fantasizing about someone else, financial. Yeah, and
Financial cheating.
exactly. Like I literally looked up for cheating types, and financial is perceived as a specific type, and then micro cheating.
Micro cheating. Is there a macro cheating?
Well, macro, I think everyone kind of understands what that is. Micro cheating is like small breaches of trust within a relationship.
It's like micro dosing. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Wow, I didn't know that was a thing. Wow,
Apparently.
now I'm more scared.
Going back to cheating.
Well, I would like to go back to Charlotte's situation, right? So like her, and this is I think the very initial thing that really kicks it off is I think it is cheating. Like even if you guys are not like in a relationship or exclusive, but I don't think it's okay to be like at her gallery opening, going into the back and making out with the girl. If
mean,
he
that
didn't constitute that to be cheating, then like why don't you just do it in front of everyone else, huh? Like why'd you have to hide?
I don't know why. How would anyone find this normal? Because why are you going on a date then?
Well, his other thing was like, I just kissed her. It's you that I want to sleep with.
No, obviously, but like, do it outside of the date, like, not on the date.
No, because like, yeah, I understand that like date number 1, you're not promised like exclusivity, like we're not married right now. There are people who only
True.
date like one person at a time, and there are people who also date like across the range, and I think that's perfectly fine as long as it's well communicated and it's kind of well understood by everyone.
But the whole point of a date, right, is to go out with a person and kind of
Start to get to know them.
exactly. So me doing someone else or engaging with someone else, it almost makes no sense unless he feels like, okay, this date is done, I am not interested, and I move on and I find someone else. But
No, I think he's, and I hate, again, I don't hate men, I don't want to use this term, but he's being a dog. Sorry, Marvin, no offense to you, buddy, you're an absolute precious angel.
I was gonna say.
He's over here. He's on the,
He's listening, always listening.
he's always listening. But he's like trying to like be here, be there, be with that girl, get his fill of that girl, and then go home and like sleep with Charlotte. I think that's what he was trying to do. And I think going back to Samantha's point is if she didn't catch him, he was going to get away with it. And so it's only cheating because she caught him. The question with that dude is like, he's not really cheating if they're not in a relationship.
Yeah, because I mean, like, if we go back to the main question, what constitutes cheating? Like, is this cheating?
You tell me. That's why we're talking about it. Like, what constitutes cheating? That's the main question, Susie.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, yes.
Okay, I'd agree.
Do I agree that it's defined by being caught or not? Okay, I see that. Like, if she wouldn't find out that day,
I
then
still think it's cheating.
It is still cheating, but like he would probably not tell her, and they would continue seeing each other until something happens, or they would find out they're not matching. Yeah. But I still, like, morally, if I'm him, I would still feel that I cheated.
Yeah.
That person.
So, okay, other types of cheating, like going back to emotional cheating, maybe.
No, I mean, like, was what, first or second of the list? I think it was second. Yeah, it was. I mean, obviously, and I think like for women, emotional cheating is often more prevalent than for men.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like if women cheat, I think they mostly cheat emotionally versus men. I think are more sexual.
Okay, so out of like the whole population of cheating,
yeah,
that one. Okay, I understand your point now. Yeah, okay. I agree.
And then, like, the other types, which were there, like, online affair, obviously.
Well, I think that goes back to emotional, right?
Yeah, exactly. But
I
then
guess
I think,
it could
like,
be physical if you're, like, sexting.
Exactly, like, the moment there are, like, images included, or maybe even, like, video call.
Yeah. That's fair.
But this one is interesting. Fantasizing about someone else.
Okay, this one is actually kind of interesting because that brings us to Miranda and the dude, like, reasoning through that dude who was hooking up with her and was watching porn. Is he imagining her to be someone else and it being like a reenactment of it, or is it more of like him just being weird? Because I think that's what it is.
Maybe it's just kind of like drives him more.
Maybe like that's like one of his kinks. Maybe. But that's what I'm thinking of in that example. I don't know if that constitutes cheating, because then, like, every single man who's married or in a relationship who watches porn is then cheating.
Well, some women definitely would say that's true. I
really?
Don't think... yeah, for sure.
I hate to say this, but I don't think it's abnormal for anyone, women, men, anyone in the relationship to be in a relationship and watch porn. I don't think that's, like...
No, but, like, imagine that they would not sleep with you, but then they would still, like, watch.
Oh, yeah. No, if there is an absence of, like, a relationship with you and it's just with whoever is, like, I don't know, in their imagination.
Yeah.
Then
or, like,
counts.
you would be struggling, with intimacy, but then you would still see your partner doing that, and you're like, why are we not being intimate?
I think that's going to be something else in the relationship. I don't consider that as cheating, though.
It's not cheating, but it's almost like there is something or
there's something else going in the relationship. But we're talking about cheating, like, not cheating.
But like, you want to be attractive to your partner, right?
Right.
And if you see that they are having the drive, because clearly they are like watching, or
then they're just not into you.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, I hate to be hard. People fall out of love, it happens. But I don't think that's cheating. That's the line that I'm trying to draw. Like, right now we're talking about cheating, not cheating. So I agree that sexual cheating is cheating, online cheating is cheating, emotional cheating is cheating. I don't think that...
But what if you fantasize about one person only?
It doesn't like that. Well, no.
Like, imagine that every time you are intimate with your partner,
not even that. So let's
thinking,
just say it's going to be that one person, but they don't act on it. It's not cheating. Like,
but
if they don't
like
actively send them like explicit text.
What about emotional? Like, isn't that a part?
No. But emotional is like your. Let's say again, we're going to use your example from before, but like you. Like a coworker, and there has to be a reason why you like that coworker, right? It's like you started flirting with them, or you're having inappropriate conversations with them outside of your relationship. That's emotional cheating. If you literally just have the fantasy of them in your mind and you don't act upon it, I don't think that's cheating. I think it's just like, it's literally like I don't know, go into this is actually a kind of interesting one. I do know someone getting divorced because a husband went to the strip club. He didn't touch the woman, he just watched, and she divorced him. So I don't
No
think that's
way.
cheating.
That's crazy.
Again, I hope to have a husband that loves me so much, that he's free to go to the strip club as long as he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
If it's just like for show, great, go do it. If you're acting upon it, that's cheating. But that's my thing, is like the same thing. It's like you could have an imagination, you can watch a movie, you can find some beautiful woman outside attractive. Don't act on it.
But what if you always, when you have like, when you're intimate with me, you're thinking about someone else during that?
I can tell. I usually can tell. And I don't like that. But then that's something else. Then you're no longer in love with me, then we should have a different conversation.
But is that cheating in your opinion?
I don't think that's cheating, no.
Okay.
That's just you're no longer in love with me, we'll break up for a different reason.
I have as I was thinking about emotional one, I have another kind of thought.
Okay.
What about flirting?
That's cheating.
Do you think that's cheating?
I think it's cheating. I mean, that's just me being very possessive. If I'm in a
Because I
relationship,
feel-
if I were to do it and I would feel guilty, that's cheating. If you don't feel like it's inappropriate, maybe.
I mean, I think it depends. Like, I really feel it depends on the type of relationship and the partner you are with. I would kind of say that if you wouldn't want to tell your partner about it, it's kind of cheating. That is, I think, very.
It is. I like that definition. I like
yeah.
that like separation of it. Okay.
If you feel bad about it to the point that you wouldn't tell your partner, but then like there might be also psychopaths who would be like, yeah, I just slept with someone. It's still cheating, but you are so emotionless that you would just be like, whatever.
Yeah, some people are just serial cheaters, and that's part of their life.
So if you are normal, emotionally attuned person, this definition works.
Yeah.
If you are not, then I think it's
Put an
gonna be
asterisk on
difficult to be with that person in general.
Well, again, not everyone has to be with someone. Someone can honestly just be continuously like cruising through life, hooking up with people, and that's fine. That's their choice.
True.
It's
you don't
like we are social creatures. We do tend to like want to be with someone, want to be with people, and so like if you just chose to be with multiple people,
Then you don't even
that's
have to care about this question to start
You
with.
don't, because your norm is what we qualify as cheating. Us, the judgy kind.
Yeah. All right. So that brings me to what... Oops, I touched my mic again.
So what was Carrie's answer?
I cheated myself and said, I guess I was afraid. And there it was. I guess we were back together officially, whatever that means.
That's not an answer, Carrie.
So basically, I think she kind of asked him, so are we now official or something like that? And he didn't really give her any specific... No, he said, you were the one who broke up with me, remember? And she said in her head to respond to that, I cheated myself and said, I guess I was afraid.
I don't know if she actually said this out loud or this part.
No. This was out loud. Like, I guess I was afraid.
Sorry, I'm backtracking. I didn't say my quote yet. Hold on. She's like, because I didn't hear what I wanted you to say, right? At the time, because he's like, why did we break up? And he's like, you left me with 2 tickets. And she's like, the reason why we broke up is because you didn't say I was the one, basically, right?
True.
And now she's like, but then let's brush that under the rug again. And I don't care because this is fun. So that pissed me off, but I've done that before.
True. Like, how much can we judge Carrie, really? Not much.
We have to get off our high horses and onto our little ponies. I think we got better answers at the beginning of the episode when girls were talking about it than we did now. So, half-assed.
She is very fluid about many things. Maybe because she's like that, or maybe because that's the only way that she can justify to herself that being with Big makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't want to like spoil the ending and things like that, but like how the show progresses, apparently like some of the writers and how they were writing the ending and everything else, they had some hot takes about how it ended because they didn't want the show to be just about like relationships and give people like this happy ending. They wanted people to, again, see the power of the show being in the power of female friendships.
Yeah.
Rather than it trying to be a fairy tale. Because I think that's definitely like the more powerful message of the entire series in general, is that no matter what, you have your friends, but it's also like how you develop and grow as a person and the ebbs and flows of it. So I choose that answer. And I chose what the girl said about. No, I'd say like, I mean, I agree with bits of all of them, except for probably Samantha.
Well,
I don't
mean,
think you have to get caught for it to be cheating.
Yeah.
I disagree with that one.
It is true. Like, you only perceive it as cheating when you learn about it, but it still is even if you don't know.
No. But even if you, like, let's take the perspective of, like, you're the one that cheated. The other person doesn't know about it.
Yeah,
but you do.
know.
But you know. But you know it qualifies as that. Right? So I don't think you need to tell the other person in order for it to be such.
Yeah.
I do agree with your definition of, like, if you're ashamed to tell your partner about it, then yes, that is cheating. And it could be, like, non-sexual, too, right? You could be cheating on your tax returns. I think that's a different aspect of cheating, but you're being dishonest with your partner who, like, might be sharing, like, taxes.
And that was the
like
financial, by the way, cheating.
Oh, that was the financial cheating?
Yeah.
Oh. Maybe I agree with financial cheating. But that could be the same thing of, like, I don't know. I'm also watching the show You, so, like, murdering someone. I think that's also, it's a different kind of cheating.
You should tell me if you murdered someone in the past. That would be helpful information.
I haven't. We confess any crimes, right?
We are not dating yet, so don't worry. Maybe 20
no,
years.
But you can clearly also cheat your friends. Sorry, Marvin just jumped onto the window. Marvin, can you please, like, not try to jump off the building? Thanks.
I think he's done. He's like,
He didn't like my comment about dogs.
Are you surprised?
The fact that I compared him to a man was offensive.
Isn't he a man?
He is a little man, but he's a precious little man.
Okay, so, next episode.
Well, the next one's episode 7. Oh, wait, actually, I've heard this written down. What am I saying? The chicken dance.
What was it about?
I don't remember, but I've gotten written down, and that's all I have. Toon, toon, toon. Marvin, please be quiet. Thank you. We're recording an episode. Calm down.
Chicken dance.
Chicken
Do you know
dance.
what this is about?
I don't know. We'll have to watch it.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
But thank you. This was a little bit chaotic ending, I feel like.
Cheating is a chaotic topic, so I think
true.
it's only suitable.
That's true. To sum it up, as always, we don't really align with Carrie's answer to the question. We do, however, agree mostly about how we perceive cheating, right? Based on the definitions that we discussed. And that's it.
We'll see you guys next time. Same
We'll
time,
see you
same
guys
place.
next time. Well, I don't
Different
think
place.
so. I will
place.
be here. I will be here where you will be, maybe like a beach or something.
Nah, I rarely go to beaches, mostly cities. But thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you.